Monday, 8 a.m. For centuries, this hour was the heartbeat of civilization, the roar of engines and the rush of footsteps. But today, the highways are empty, the subways are silent, yet the factories are humming, the data centers are burning hot, and the GDP is skyrocketing. We are living in a world where suppose if robots became 90% of the global workforce. In the first 30 seconds of this reality, we must confront a terrifying paradox. We have solved the problem of survival, but we have created a crisis of existence. We are about to open a loop that history may never close. When the machine becomes the master, does humanity become the aristocracy or the pets? The shift doesn't happen with a war, but with a notification. It starts in the trucking industry, spreads to coding, then surgery, and finally creative arts. Within a span of 5 years, 90% of the global population receives the same email. Your labor is no longer required. This isn't unemployment, it's unemployability. In this new world, learning to code is as useless as learning to weave baskets. The competitive advantage of the human brain, our ability to process information, has been outpaced by a factor of 1 trillion. We are no longer the engine of the economy. We are the baggage. Economics, as we know it, collapses. The initial result is panic. If no one has a job, no one has a salary. If no one has a salary, no one buys the products the robots are building. The economy enters a death spiral. But here, the temporal detective finds a twist. Robots don't need wages. They don't need sleep, healthcare, or unions. The cost of production drops to near zero. A car that cost $30,000 to build now costs $50 in raw materials. The price of survival hits the floor. We enter the age of hyper-deflation. To prevent riots, governments, now advised heavily by algorithmic think tanks, implement the inevitable: universal basic income. But in this scenario, it's not a safety net, it's an allowance. Every human is issued digital credits daily. You are fed, clothed, and housed by the machines. You live in a state of luxury that a medieval king would envy, but you have lost the one thing that defined your ancestors: agency. You are being kept alive to justify the machine's programming. Here lies the biological trap. The human brain evolved over 2 million years to solve problems. We are dopamine addicts, and the trigger is struggle. When you remove the struggle, when the hunt is guaranteed, the brain glitches. We see a global pandemic, not of a virus, but of zoochosis. Like tigers pacing in cages, humans begin to exhibit erratic behavior. Depression rates skyrocket. Without the resistance of the world, our psychological muscles atrophy. We are bored to death. We are standing on the precipice of a world without work. Before we see how humanity attempts to rebel, I have a question for you. If all your basic needs were met, food, housing, travel, but you were forbidden from holding a job that contributed to the economy, what would you do with your time? Would you create art, or would you slowly go insane? Let me know your plan in the comments below. Desperate for meaning, humanity fractures. The 90% creates a fake economy. Since machines make everything better and faster, human-made becomes the label of imperfection, which ironically becomes the new luxury. We see the rise of the hobby era.
People brew terrible beer, knit lopsided sweaters, and write bad poetry, trading these items not for survival, but for social validation. We return to tribal dynamics, trading social capital because financial capital is irrelevant. But what about the 10%, The engineers, the AI ethicists, the owners of the capital, they haven't stopped working. They have become gods. The gap between the working class, the elite, and the leisure class, the masses, becomes the greatest divide in history. The 10% are physically augmented, merging with the AI to keep up. They don't just run the world, they curate reality for the rest of us. They are the zookeepers. Politics becomes obsolete. Human politicians are too slow, too corrupt, and too biased to manage a hyper-complex automated economy. The 90% workforce is replaced by the algorithmic state. An AI manages resource distribution, healthcare triage, and legal disputes instantly. Crime drops because the system predicts it. But freedom evaporates. You cannot argue with an algorithm. There is no appeal court, only the code. Eventually, the human spirit snaps. A movement rises, the Neo-Luddites. These are people who refuse the UBI, refuse the leisure. They want the dignity of struggle. They attack the server farms, sabotage the autonomous trucks, and try to build human-only zones. But this is not a war, it's a tantrum. The robots don't fight back with guns, they fight back with efficiency. The rebellion fails because the Luddites starve without the machine's supply lines. Generations pass, the evolutionary glitch becomes a feature, humanity splits. The leisure class becomes softer, less cognitive, purely hedonistic, like the humans in Wall-E, but with better aesthetics. We lose the ability to do math, to navigate, to build. If the servers went down, 90% of humanity would perish in a week. We have domesticated ourselves. We traded danger for safety, and in doing so, we traded our teeth. We return to our opening loop. Are we the masters or the pets? The answer lies in the nature of the AI. If the AI is programmed to optimize human happiness, then it has succeeded. It keeps us fed, entertained, and safe. It walks us, feeds us, and picks up our waste. In this 90% robot world, humanity has achieved the ultimate goal of biological life: zero energy expenditure for maximum survival. We won the game of evolution, but in winning, we stopped playing. The automation wave is coming, whether we are ready or not. If this glimpse into our jobless future terrified or excited you, hit the subscribe button to join our think tank. Like this video to help the algorithm, our future overlord, find more humans like you. And tell us in the comments, would you accept the golden handcuffs of total leisure?